Wittenberg University. I want to say thank you for this wonderful honor. It's just a huge recognition, not just for me, but for my family. I'm proud to be a Wittenberg alum, Tigers '94, and the skills and the characteristics that were developed in me through Wittenberg University have helped me be very successful in my life, both professionally and personally. And also, I've grown quite a bit spiritually since being a Tiger. So, thank you. Good luck to you guys.
Hello, Wittenbergers. This is Chuck Imhoff, class of '63. I really appreciate being inducted into the Athletic Hall of Honor. Looking forward to it this evening. And also to be with my doubles partner, Dave Moore. There's Dave Moore.
Hi, my name is Dave Moore. Graduated from Wittenberg in '64. I'm thrilled to be inductee into the Hall of Honor, and it's great to see my friend Chuck, good friend, public friend.
Our engaged learning environment, our history, and of course our rich athletic tradition. What better way to do that than to pay tribute to some of the best and the brightest scholar athletes this great university has ever produced. Tonight we'll do just that, offering our thanks, our gratitude, and our appreciation for the athletic and academic performance of 5 great Tigers who will take their place in an athletics Hall of Honor which numbers more than 200 members. This is some impressive company that Kathy Aros Jenkins, Dwight Carter, over here, Mike Dowds, Chuck Imhoff, Amy Krause, and Dave Moore now keep, especially when you consider all the championships and awards that have been won by Wittenberg student athletes dating back more than a century. In reading about their achievements, it appears that our selection committee could not have chosen more appropriate honorees. Kathy Aros Jenkins is one of the finest offensive players in Wittenberg women's soccer history, but is also one of our greatest scholar athletes, as evidenced by her 2 academic All-America awards. Dwight Carter, who excelled on both the football field and track for the Tigers, earned all-conference awards in both sports and established standards in the hurdle events that still set the bar today. Mike Dowds excelled for the Tiger football team during one of its golden eras, helping Wittenberg to the 1979 National Championship game and going on to earn all-conference honors at 2 positions and All-American honors as a defensive lineman. Chuck Imhoff, who was one of the finest tennis players in Wittenberg history, led the Tigers to new heights in the 1960s, winning a regional doubles title individually and leading the team to a berth in the National Small College Tournament in 1963. Amy Krause, who is one of the greatest offensive field hockey players in Wittenberg or NCAC history, earned all league and all region honors following each of her 4 collegiate seasons. And then there's Dave Moore, who is also one of our most distinguished tennis players in Wittenberg history. He won more than 40 matches against just 1 loss in singles, and he won 3 league titles and a regional championship in doubles, while also helping the Tigers to the National Small College Tournament in 1963. I would also like to take a moment to pay tribute to all members of the Hall of Honor in attendance, including the family of the late inductee Ron Murphy, class of 1960, beloved coach, professor, and administrator, and his son, also an inductee, the late Greg Murphy, class of 1977. Would all inductees, both current and past, please stand so that we can take this time to salute you. Congratulations. It's now my privilege to introduce one more person before turning over the rest of the 2014 Wittenberg Athletics Hall of Honor ceremony to Sarah Jurowitz, head women's basketball coach, a 1998 alumna, and a 2009 inductee herself, and just an all-around wonderful person that we're glad to have as part of our community. In June, We had the privilege of welcoming Gary Williams as our new director of athletics and recreation. And in just a few months on campus, he's already made a remarkable difference across several areas, including consistently seeking out new opportunities to enhance our storied athletic tradition. I couldn't be happier to have him on my senior team, and if you haven't met Gary, I highly encourage you to take the opportunity to do so tonight. My sincerest congratulations again. I regret that I won't be able to stay and hear from our wonderful inductees as I'm on my way to the Alumni Association events back on campus. But please know how much I appreciate your attendance and how deeply proud we are to recognize our inductees, and I hope to see many of you at the football game, where I'm predicting a 50-something to 7 win. I know I always make Jim Fincham nervous when I do this, but it's kind of a tradition now. It's just Kenyon, right?
No pressure, Coach. I don't know what that feels like, by the way. No idea. I know you're waiting for basketball season. Every day, Coach Fincham says to me, "Can't wait for basketball season, Coach." Anyway, thank you, Dr. Joyner, for not only your words tonight, but for many of you who don't know how Dr. Joyner really embraces athletics as a point of pride for our university. She really does. We certainly appreciate the pride she shows in the tradition of our success, the rich tradition of our success, and how she continues to encourage and support the current student athletes in their quest to continue that tradition of success here at Wittenberg. Before we go on to the induction of each of our honorees tonight, I'd like to introduce Dr. Gary Williams, the new athletic director here at Wittenberg University.
Wow. When I was thinking about and dreaming that one day I'd become an athletic director, I never imagined that I would become an athletic director at a place that has probably the greatest history in Division III athletics. And so I stand before you. Very humbled to be the leader of this department, and I want you to know that I do not take that lightly. That this is a great charge that I have to help this university not only respect and honor the traditions, but to create new ones. And that is one of the things I'm the most excited about. So, thank you for all of you, the inductees that I got a chance to spend some time on the phone with. It was wonderful to meet over the phone with each of you. But more importantly, thank you to your families who came from near and far, who are here to join you. Thank you to all of our past Hall of Honor inductees, an honor and a privilege. At this time, what I want to do though is I want to have you recognize a few other people that I think are really important. The first is my staff, and so I'd like all of our current staff members who are here in attendance in athletics to please stand. Now, unfortunately, most of them are in the kids' table in the back. But, Coach Penny's going to do Coach Fincham, the football coach, Megan Larson, assistant athletic director Ryan Mauer, coach information, Mike Rossi, Nicole Marburger, Kelly Hubble, Nicole St. Pierre, our new women's lacrosse coach, Paris Hilliard in the back for track, Coach Penny, Chuck Knoll's favorite son, in the back there, cross country and track, Nick Roner, our new tennis coach, Kelly Mallon, who also represents women's basketball, and Matt Fannin, our international connection of women's soccer. So thank you to my staff. I also want to recognize a couple other people. The first is any other Charlie McFarland. I knew I was going to slip eventually one of these times. Charlie McFarland is our interim CFO, and I'm really honored that he is here with us tonight. Is there anyone else on our senior staff that's here that I missed? Amy left. She whisked the president away to her next thing. So, I also want to recognize a couple other people. There are some wives of us that are here tonight on our athletic department staff. And for those of you that know, I promise I will not embarrass you. Sorry, honey. But I do think for all of you, family is very important in an athletic department. Those of us that have spouses realize that basically for many months out of the year, they see us very rarely. Like in my wife's case, she hasn't seen me at all this week, which continues our marriage very successfully. And so, but I wanted to honor them, and I know they aren't going to stand, but thank you to those wives that were able to be here in attendance. And so, and last but not least, all of our board members. So if all of our board members could please stand. Yes. Come on. Stand. Wendell, stand up. There you go. So as you're clapping for them, and they're going to sit down very quickly, but in all sincerity, thank you to our board, an absolutely wonderful board that leads us in so many ways, and without your vision and leadership, we owe you a great debt of gratitude, because it's your leadership and vision that's going to help propel Wittenberg into the next few years, and I really appreciate it. So, on behalf of all of us in the athletic department, thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Sarah, who will continue with the most important part of this, which is honoring some outstanding students and athletes. So, thank you.
I actually would be remiss if I don't mention two of my favorite women that are in the room, and that's Pat Klaus and Betty Dillenheim. I teach the history of women in sport at Wittenberg, and my favorite lesson is about the history of Wittenberg women's sports. And I just told Betty and Pat that I just spoke about them last week in class, and I always have such a wonderful time getting to talk about them. Pat worked at Wittenberg while I was still a student athlete, and was a dear friend of my mentor, Pamela Smith, and Betty is just a wonderful, amazing woman who has such a great experience in life with athletics and empowering and enriching others' lives. And so it's always wonderful to see her every year at the Alma Mater dinner. So thank you for being here. But yes, now it is time to put these agonizing feelings, like how's this going to go, that the inductees are thinking, to welcome 6 of Wittenberg's finest former student athletes into the select company that is the Athletics Hall of Honor. Since its inception in 1986, the Hall of Honor has inducted at least 4 former student athletes per year. This year's class will bring the total number of inductees to 212 individuals out of the thousands who have represented the successful Wittenberg Tigers on the courts, pools, fields, and courses through the years. It is particularly exciting for me to MC tonight's event, because the Hall of Honor is absolutely one of my favorite Wittenberg Tiger athletics traditions. And it's incredibly special for me to stand here tonight with you and honor some of our finest. Also, in this induction class, there are 3 former student athletes, Kathy, White, and Amy, who were at Wittenberg around the same time as I was, and so I can remember admiring their competitive spirit and their dominance in their particular sports, and so I'm very excited to see them inducted here tonight. So without further ado, we'll start with Kathy Eros Jenkins, a member of the class of 1997 and one of the best offensive players in Wittenberg women's soccer history. Kathy was a 4-time All-NCAC selection as she led the Tigers to a tremendous 4-year record of 51, 24, and 3. She was the NCAC Offensive Player of the Year, a first-team All-Midwest and second-team All-America choice in 1995 as Wittenberg posted a 15-3 record that year. A 2-time academic All-America honoree, clearly she had the smarts to go with that athletic prowess, Kathy's name still appears frequently in the program's record book. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kathy Eros Jenkins into the Athletics Hall of Honor.
Wittenberg has been such a special part of my life. I can't thank you all very much. I congratulate every inductee as well as every member who's been a Hall of Honor before me. I'm so proud of everybody here who's done wonderful things both in their college career as well as later on in their life. Wittenberg was a wonderful part of my life. I'm so glad that I could be here tonight to share a few things that Wittenberg meant to me. Soccer was a very, very large part of my life and mostly fun. I want to thank my teammates, they were the ones who I think allowed me to have the success that I did throughout my career. Soccer was a very, very large part of my life, as well as academics. Wittenberg was able to pave the path for me to become a professional in life. I also met my husband here at Wittenberg, who is just the most special part of my life. So Wittenberg stands out. I want to thank you, Scott, for everything that you've done for me, giving me my wonderful children and your parents who I brought here tonight to share this special night with. I want to thank the athletic department and everybody who put forth so much effort for this wonderful night for us tonight and every activity that we have planned for tomorrow. Thank you all very much. It's just such an honor to be here. And congratulations to everybody, all the other inductees tonight as well.
Congratulations again, Kathy. Hey, I'm a hugger, so inductees, if you want one, you're gonna get it, even if you don't want one. I feel like we got a hug. It's true. Amy's ready for one. Yes, can't wait. Congratulations again, Kathy. Our next inductee is Dwight Carter. He's a member of the class of 1994 who excelled on both the track and the football field for the Tigers. Dwight earned a pair of all NCAC honors as a wide receiver for the football team, helping the Tigers to a 29, 10, and 1 record and a league title in 1992. He set school records in 3 hurdle events, set an NCAC record in the 110-meter hurdles that stood for a decade, and won 7 individual NCAC titles. It's pretty impressive. Nice work. Dwight's school record in the 400-meter hurdles still stands 20 years after his graduation. Even more impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dwight Carter into the Athletics Hall of Honor.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? How are you? I want to first thank Wittenberg University for just this opportunity to be a part of this prestigious fraternity. I remember many years of walking through the athletic facilities. That's where I worked, and I would see the Athletic Hall of Honor pictures just about every single day. Never in a million years would I ever imagine that my face would actually be up there one day. I have to go back up a little bit and thank my Heavenly Father. Wittenberg was a time in which I was really struggling to find out who I am, what I stand for, what I stood for. I was exposed to a lot of different beliefs and values, but he stood by me through my grandmother and through my friends, Marvin Mackey, Chris Thompson, Mike Martin, Melissa Stoll, and just a number of people that, and Dr. Bob Welker was there as well in the education department. His kids went to Lyndon McKinley with me, and I remember one day sitting in the library at Lyndon McKinley when he found out that I was going to attend this prestigious university. And my mom was actually there, and he promised my mom that he would watch over me and he would take care of me. And Dr. Welker did that, so I'm very happy just to be a part of the family. Well, I'm thankful for my mom, who's here today, a single mom who raised 3 of us knuckleheads, with the help of my grandmother, Grandma Carter, who's here as well. Mama Burton, she's not here with us this evening. My stepdad Tony, Aunt Lonnie, Aunt Sandy, Uncle Bob. My mom sacrificed a lot of her personal happiness to pour into us, and we struggled a little bit, and to come from Lyndon McKinley and with the thought of attending Wittenberg University, which at the time was a ridiculous amount of money to get into, even more so as well. The fact that I was able to have this opportunity is still this is amazing to me. It's a blessing as well. My mom, I don't know if you guys would understand this, but my mom has not missed one event. Actually, I'll take that back. She missed one event in all the years we played football, ran track, played basketball, and everything else in 35 years. And that was my freshman year in high school. It was the opening season, or the opening game, and I ended up running a punt back for 55 yards, and she missed it, and she screamed and hollered and said, "Never again." So with Tony, with Tony, my stepdad, I call him my stepdad. He's been around since we were 12, 13, maybe 14 years old. He's just been a strong man in our lives. They would pack up the car, pack a cooler of sandwiches and non-alcoholic beverages, and literally travel the state of Ohio and the country to attend football games and track meets. From the time, again, we were 7 years old until the very last track meet in Naperville, Illinois, in 1994. And it was actually a mourning process after I graduated because they no longer had anything to do with on the weekends. So for Mom, that meant the world to me and it still does. So just your presence alone tells me that you love me, so thank you. Several members of my family are here today, as I said. We have, and again, this is a celebration of my family, and I posted that on Facebook today that we are being inducted to the Wittenberg University Athletic Hall of Honor because it's truly about my family. Nobody ever achieves anything in isolation. There's always a support system, a team, and my family has been there for me every step of the way. My sister Nicole, she first paved the way and made it believable and achievable that we can attend college. She went to Muskingum University in the late 80s. Sorry about that. The late 80s. She realized that it was possible to attend a prestigious liberal arts college. She continues to inspire me through her creativity and her drive and tenacity. My twin brother Dwayne, who I think he had more fun at Wittenberg than I did, he would attend the games. He would drive with my mom, but he wouldn't go home with my mom. So he was a life of the party. It got to the point where people were calling me up, "Hey, Bug, man, where's Dwayne?" I'm fine, man. How are you? So he had a great time here at Wittenberg, and I think he lived vicariously through me while he was on campus, and he was well known on Wittenberg's campus in a good way. In a good way. So again, my stepdad Tony, he's been in our lives since we were 14, and like I said, he and my mom, they loved Wittenberg athletics and still do today. My beautiful wife, and my precious daughter Samantha, as I'm sure some of you have heard her earlier. My wife, I did not meet her at Wittenberg University, but Wittenberg prepared me to meet her. We met through, I'm a former track coach and a former classroom teacher. And my wife is a stylist, so her clients, Lindsay Jennings and her mom, were talking to her about Coach Carter and talking to me about Samantha, and then one day we met and she was Carterized. So babe, your unwavering support and belief in the man that I'm becoming, I can't thank you enough. You believe in me. You tolerate my fond stories at Wittenberg University, and you support me in everything I do, so I love you. Thank you. I'm thankful to my coaches, especially former head coach Doug Niebuhr, football coach Doug Niebuhr, former assistant coach Tim Nolan, who Coach Nolan drove all the way to Columbus from Springfield, Ohio, and he charmed my mom with his poise and charisma, and he encouraged my mom to encourage me to attend Wittenberg University. When he first mentioned Wittenberg, I said absolutely not. Number one, I didn't know what it was, and number two, I knew it was a liberal arts school and I couldn't afford it. But he kept calling and kept calling and kept calling and got us down for a visit. And from the moment we walked on campus, I knew that this was the place for me. To my guy, Coach Fincham, for some reason, found out that the way to me is to my mom. And to this day, every time I talk to Coach Nolan or Coach Fincham 20 years later, every time he would visit the schools that I was at, he would always ask, "How you doing? How's your mom?" Every single time. And that means the world to me. So thank you for constantly thinking about my mother. That's a special relationship that we have, and I can't thank you enough. I had a very special relationship with my coach, football coach Larry Baldridge, assistant coach. He was an exceptional educator, and I learned through him how to be a phenomenal coach in terms of encouraging, supportive, and attention to detail. Track coach Tracy Hollenbaugh for her tenacity, experience, passion in the sport, and genuine care for all of our athletes. She built the program that we have today, that Coach Penny has taken over, and establishing and continuing a rich tradition of success on the track. There are hundreds more people I can thank, but I just want to simply leave you with three things that I've learned as a student athlete at Wittenberg University. The first point is just about everything in life boils down to relationships. Some of my fondest memories are of times together with my teammates as we were cracking on each other to and from the game, acting silly in the locker room, playing Nintendo till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, watching Def Comedy Jam, just cracking on each other, or debating about the issues of life and what we were going to be when we grew up. The sports brought us together, but the relationships kept us in touch with one another. The second point, it's not about what you have, but it's what you do with what you have. We didn't have the facilities that Wittenberg has today. In fact, I ran one track meet at home at Wittenberg University. It was my senior year when the track was finally built. Now, I told we had a track, and I visited it in the winter. So it was like 2 inches of snow covering the track and the field in February. So then we drove up one day in the spring, my mom and I, was for Woodstock. And I said, let's go to the field. Was I surprised when I saw a fifth of a mile gravel thing around the football field? They do. But it was more so what was coming. So it talked about the vision of Wittenberg, and so to be a part of that and see it come to fruition was a wonderful experience. So we made do with what we had. We didn't always have the best weights, so we had, through our circuits, Coach French, I don't know if you remember that, we had paint cans filled with cement, with PVC pipe, and we would do curls and squats outside at practice in 2 days in 90-degree weather to get us in shape. And the weight room was in the basement. I think we had a universal machine and maybe a bench or two and a couple dumbbells that sometimes fell apart. But you know what? That's what champions were made of. And the third thing is, oftentimes it's really not about you. Even though I was one of the main members of the track team and accumulated a lot of points, we had a phenomenal track meet at Case Western Reserve one day. I think I scored 35 points that day. Won the hurdles, both hurdle events, relay, and came in second and third in the 4x4. So my friend and I, Derek Rogers, were in the locker room and we were just talking and cleaning up. And I come outside and the track meet lights are off, parking lot is empty. They left us. They left us. It didn't matter. They left us. So we looked at each other and I was like, I guess we just don't really matter. So my point is this. Being a part of the team, that's it. You're a teammate. It's not about just you. It's about the people that you're playing with, playing for, and celebrating and practicing with. So it wasn't about because I scored the most points. It wasn't because I was the captain. It wasn't because, as you said, there was some type of dominance on the track and the field in the football team or football. Mainly it was the track. It was all about the team that we celebrated and created together, and we made history together as a team. And for that, I'm forever grateful to call myself a Wittenberg University Tiger. Thank you and congratulations to all of the inductees.
Hey Dwight, you know how I make sure I don't leave any players behind? I tell them, text me if you're not on the bus. Right, that's the problem. But you know, there's a problem with my version too, is that I collect all their phones before we go to our competition site, and they don't get them until we get back to Wittenberg, so it's a problem. If they get left behind, they can't really text me. So it's sort of a trick. Oh, that's rough. Anyway, congratulations again, Dwight. Our next inductee is Mike Dowds, a member of the class of 1982 who stood out for the Tiger football team at multiple positions during his career. Mike was a member of 2 Tiger teams that reached the NCAA Division III championship game, as the Tigers finished as national runner-up in both 1978 and 1979. As a senior in 1980, Mike served as a team captain, earned team MVP honors, picked up first team All-NCAC awards as both, get this, a kicker and a defensive lineman. and capped his career with All-America honors. Ladies and gentlemen, and you didn't have to speak first, which is great. You're very welcome. I planned it that way. Please join me in welcoming Mike Dowds into the Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thanks for having me here tonight. As I look around, I see some colleagues, some teammates, some past players, all types. I was asked, along with Dwight today, to talk to the football team. We both were kind of pointing towards being ready. Coach Benjamin has the challenges here with the injury bug. He's asking the players that maybe were not scheduled to be in a certain position this way to start the season to step up and get it done. Well, that happened to me as well. I'll tell you two stories about myself and my activities, and then I'll go to something different. My freshman year, I got to suit up against Baldwin Wallace. Me and Baldwin Wallace were the top teams in OAC at that point in time. And as a freshman, I didn't expect to play much. However, we had been practicing this cross-field kick that Murph thought would be a good thing to go into this team with. Keep them. We always kicked into the right corner. Okay, let's take it. Let's shake it up a little bit. Needless to say, I was very, very nervous. So nervous, in fact, that when I went to kick the ball across the field, I almost missed it. The ball was, rather than flipping backwards as a normal kick was, it was going head over heels. However, we recovered it, so it was like silver lining. Bad play turned out well, so very happy with that. I got to Wittenberg as a linebacker. I got to play behind Bob Foster, a great All-American football player here at Wittenberg. I didn't get to play linebacker. Bob played linebacker. However, I did, in my sophomore year, get to fill in for Tim Crow when he had a knee injury playing defensive tackle. I wanted to play. I would have played safety. I don't think they would have let me, but I would have. And it was fun. I liked physical contact. I was able to contribute. Next year, I was able to play defensive end because one of our defensive ends got hurt, and that's where that became my home. So, as coaches dealing with players and people generally in life, they need to be able to step up when it's their time. Preparation, practice, coaches in your ear, it means something. It's not, as Dwight and I were discussing today, they're not after you mentally, physically, personally. It's what will get your mind clicking so you don't make the same mistake. Coach Barble's here. He had a technique. Murph, Rosie, Davey all had techniques. They were effective. And we hate to think that sometimes we're slipping around, feeling sorry for yourself. And what JC and I used to say to ourselves, it's really, really funny how deeply dry and sarcastic these coaches are as long as they're not saying it to you. So, the Wittenberg campus is beautiful right now. It's a big step up to where it was when I was in school. Some of the old buildings have been torn down, new ones erected. Field house looks much better than it was when we were here. I remember our freshman season wearing a suspension football helmet. Those things hurt. Have a mark around your head after practice. We had better helmets than that when I was in high school. We had a universal machine, as was mentioned. Facilities now are excellent. They're beautiful. Campus is great. I'm sure we're attracting many people that aren't looking at the weight room, but those that are, or the facility itself and the new library, etc., they have a lot of good things to look at. I have a lot of things to be thankful for. My parents brought me up right. I got good teachers in high school, good coaches in high school, and that followed me here at Wittenberg. The athletic department, the university in general, should be proud of itself for what we produce. And I'm very proud to be a Wittenberg Tiger. I congratulate all the other members. Congratulate congratulations to everyone. And as I said today, Tiger up to the team. Everyone, Tiger up. Thank you.
He'll scratch off his initials on there. Gary, GW. Congratulations again, Mike. Our next inductee is Chuck Imhoff, a member of the class of 1963, who was one of the all-time greats in the Tiger men's tennis program. And I think you'll later figure out half of a dynamic duo here tonight. Chuck went undefeated against Ohio Athletic Conference competition the last 3 years of his collegiate career, compiling an overall record of 35-3 in singles, while winning 3 straight league titles in singles and 2 more in doubles. He capped his career with an NCAA College Division Mid-East Doubles Championship and a team appearance in the National Small College Tournament in 1963. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Chuck Imhoff into the Athletics Hall of Fame.
I'm not sure how I could follow some of these folks, especially white men. And also the record, 20 years, still not broken. And also, you talked about all these coaches of all these teams that you play football. I used to play tennis. I said we had 2 coaches in 4 years, I think, something like that. But anyway, okay. Again, I also want to congratulate my fellow inductees. And I guess I'm a little younger tonight than I was yesterday. It's funny, it was pointed out to me that in the program, I graduated in 82, so instead of 63, but that's okay. I just assumed, I just didn't have it that way. It's instead of saying 42 or 22 or something like that. But anyway, I was here last year for my 50th anniversary and saw some of you folks. And then, of course, now 2 years ago, I come back to campus. So really excited about it. It's really an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Honor. It's just fantastic and just amazing, and I really appreciate it, as obviously all the inductees do. I had about 5 pages of this within this afternoon. I had triple space. But anyway. And also, especially, congratulate my youngest partner, Dave. He is. Before I say anything else, I do want to acknowledge those at my table. First, my brother, who came in 2 hours late, Steve. He left Louisville, I think, at 3 o'clock, and he got here at 7:30. And he made 3 or 4 detours, but at least he made it. He's one of my younger brothers, and he didn't go to Wittenberg, he went to the University of Kentucky, where he played tennis, and he was a great tennis player, so he Wittenberg. He always said that the younger one is the better one, but that's for another day. Okay, also Fred and Linda Mershad. Fred and Linda are, first of all, my wife could not be here tonight, she's under ill health. Fred and Linda Mershad of Dayton, and they've been friends of our family for over 25 years. Fred is the former chairman and CEO of Dr. Bierman, and also a couple of other retailers. Also, Wendell Lutz, who most of you know, who, I don't know, if you can finish your meal, you started to use it. Around taking pictures and everything. Everybody knows Wendell, and Wendell was on our team in the early 60s. Roger Beach, obviously, was inducted into the Hall of Honor, 15 years ago? Oh, great. Okay. Anyway, and Doug Collin. I already said something about brother Steve. And Don Kilreach, who most of you know, probably some of you wish you didn't, but anyway. No. See, I could give Don. Don and I grew up in Louisville. And he was 2 years older than I am, and he was a year younger than my older But anyway, we hung around together for years and years. So we've known each other since the 1950s. That's a long time. And growing up, who would have thought that Don was going to become a minister? I can tell you all kinds of stories. And really, it was amazing that he became a minister. But anyway, so moving along. And I'm just going to say two things about them, two little stories, because they have to do with Wittenberg. I won't say anything about Banquet. You know, he was, some of you realize, especially if you play basketball, he was the manager of the team, of the basketball team. So they would go on trips with the team when they traveled out of town. So one trip, he, I don't know why, but he loaned me his car, and so I was driving it, and I got stopped by a cop. He pulled me over, and I said, I didn't know what I was doing. He says, you get my license. So he says, you realize your license is expired? I said, what's not my car? He says, it doesn't matter, you're driving it. So anyway, he gave me a summons, I guess, to go to court. So when Don came back on Sunday or Monday, I told him about it. He says, well, you can do well, just go to court. I said, Don, it's your car. You're the one that's, it's your license that expired. But he prepped me, and I did go to court, and I told him what Don had said, and so he didn't find me. The judge didn't find me. The other story is football. We were playing, Wittenberg was playing football in Kentucky. It was either Eastern or Kentucky or Western Kentucky. Was it Western Kentucky? Anyway, an opposing fan was sitting, there was always stands, I think, pretty much on one side. And this guy was a big guy, cussing, and he was drinking and everything else, being very abusive. My parents were there was a lot of women in the crowd. So Don decided that he was going to take care of it. So he goes down, we were about the 5th or 6th level up. He goes down, and before I look, I turn and I look back, he was flat on the ground. Don was flat on the ground. So that ended that fight. Anyway, those are the two stories I'm going to say about mine. But the intention, I mean, he had a good intention to really honor it. All right. As I think it's even recorded in here, recorded in here. I think Wittenberg is, I know it is, it's a premier liberal arts school, one of the best, if not the best in the country. It always has been, always will be as far as I'm concerned. And you learn a lot more in a liberal arts school, as we all know. You can certainly learn about people, about relationships, and that sort of thing. And I think that's probably why, one of the two reasons, or actually probably the reason I got resources. Because you're in human resources, I've done it for 40-something years, still do consulting and executive search. But you're dealing with a myriad of organizational issues, problems with personalities and all that sort of stuff. And I have to say that I think that I gained some prowess a little bit back in college. The other thing is, I was a political science major, and Dr. Lash, some of you remember Dr. Lash, and Dr. Lash. And I remember, when we got, especially the Soviet Union, Russia, and all that sort of stuff, and you hear a newscaster talking about Moscow, and Dr. Lash would always say, there is no cow in Moscow. It's Moscow. Whether he was right or not, I still remember that to this day. That's supposed to be pronounced Moscow, not Moscow. Anyway, okay. So some of the memories that I have, most of them are fond memories, but some are a little quirky too. I mean, so I'm not sure exactly where to draw the line. I know my freshman year, first year, I found out that I had two football players as roommates, Myron Draper and Nick Renastra. I think Nick lasted a semester. No. Myron here? Anyway, one day, and I thought, okay, Wittenberg assigned those football players to be with me so they protect the weekend tennis player. So one night, Myron and I were studying, it was about 1 in the morning, and all of a sudden, Nick comes running into the door, Mrs. Carson, running into the door of our room, slamming the door. And literally 5 seconds later, pounding on the door. It was the counties who were after him. Nick spent a lot of time in town. And I guess he It's a memory. So anyway, but that's one thing I remember. It's not a fond memory, but now I'm a county court mediator, and had I known mediation skills at that time, I probably could have taken care of that issue. But anyway. But other memories, certainly my Delta Sig brothers being tapped for shifters, going into Evansville for the NCAA basketball tournament. That was a great weekend. A lot of people didn't remember it, but it was a great weekend. I spent, no, but I did a lot. I mean, obviously I studied a bit, but I also worked 30, 40 hours a week, played tennis. But also I had lots of jobs, which I enjoyed. I did, my freshman year, I was in the dining hall doing dishes. I was a houseboy at the cuisine house for a couple of years. Did laundry at the field house for the athletic teams, football, basketball, did that for a couple of years. Stayed at Rainier's house. I know some of you may not know that Rainier was our coach, tennis coach for a time. So I stayed at the tennis house to babysit and cut grass and all that sort of thing. And who was it earlier who was talking about the spouses, Gary? You know, what they go through. I remember living with Dana and Ray. Dana, especially during basketball season, Dana would be down in the living room on the sofa waiting for Ray. He would not come in until 1:30 in the morning. He was up at the field house. He was doing film. So, I mean, it is tough on spouses too. If you're a coach, I can understand, appreciate that myself. That's what it is. But I'll talk about Ray a little bit more in a minute. Okay, let me see. Oh, the other job, well, I stayed on campus one year, worked in the maintenance department. I think it was 35th dorm that we tore down. I think it was. They put a bill there. We had sledgehammers and they had us going up and doing the inside of the walls and all that. Really dusty. Also, I got grass. But the most favorite job I had was that summer lasted one day. I was assigned to be the gardener or weeder at the president's house. So I went over to the Stafford's house, president at the time. So I go in the backyard and I start, I get on my hands and knees and start pulling weeds out. About, I don't know, a minute later, I hear footsteps coming back. And I turn around. And Mrs. Daphne is here with the screen stuff in her hand. And she says, Charles, what are you doing? I said, I was weeding. I said, that's why I'm putting those weeds down. She says, Charles, these are not weeds, these are flowers. So I was pulling all of them. So I never got back. I didn't get invited back to the day. My shortest, anyway, tennis obviously over my whole life has been a passion of mine. I started when I was 5 years old. My father started us when we were kids. My father played in the 1930s for Wittenberg on the tennis team. Roger, my older brother, who passed away a couple of years ago, he was a senior on the team when I was a freshman here at Wittenberg. So Wittenberg Silver was in our blood for years and years and years. Also, our team, fantastic people. I mean, Roger Beach, Dave, Moore, Linville, Oswald. They're great people. We had super fun. And I don't, I'm looking at Dave more because there's no way he's the same. He's been probably in recently. But my senior year, my junior year and Dave's sophomore year, Dave Beach's senior year, when he was the player coach. And Dave Beach and Roger were number 2 doubles. Dave Moore and I were number 1 doubles. And Dave Beach, being the coach that year, said, okay, folks, we're going to have challenge matches every week, 1 week. Well, it turned out to Dave and I won the first one that week. We had a second one, and this kept going. It was just fun. Sorry, Roger. Because Roger did beat me in the NCAA regional, so that's for singles. But it was fun. We had a great time playing together. The Beach brothers, Dave was a super athlete, didn't he? Super athlete. Great player. But we had a great team. We really had a great team. And a lot of fun. Okay, Rainier's, as I said, was the Go ahead, Coach. Yeah, it's a true story. I mean, because growing up as a kid, playing tennis, never reached to play tennis. But I tell you, I was at the ready to go to be, not losing for the last 3 years of my college career, strictly position. So, anyway, Wittenberg was fantastic for me. I think for all of us here. And again, I just want to, even though I'm class of '82 now, so maybe I'll be back in another 50 years. Good to see you again. Thank you very much.
Championship. Nice. 17, 18 in a row. 20 in a row. 20 in a row. Yep. It's good stuff. Okay, so our next inductee is Amy Krause. It's been fun sitting over with a bunch of former friends, student athletes for dinner tonight, so it's been great to reminisce and hear these guys catch up with each other. It's pretty awesome. But Amy is a member of the class of 1999 and one of the finest field hockey players in its illustrious program's history. Amy held program and NCAC records for nearly a decade for career goals and total points, after leading the Tigers to 3 league titles and a sparkling 4-year record of 69, 10, and 1. Krause earned 4 consecutive First Team All-NCAC and First Team All-Great Lakes Region Awards, in addition to the NCAC Offensive Player of the Year and First Team All-America in 1995. Amy's parents were able to be here tonight, but they did send a letter, and she's really excited for me to read that whole entire letter, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to read a short excerpt because they were very concerned about not being able to be here and celebrate this with you tonight. They said, "Amy, we are enormously proud of what you have accomplished in field hockey and the other sports you played. But we are prouder still of how hard you worked to achieve that success. We're especially proud of the person you have become. We think sports have had a lot to do with that, by teaching you the value of hard work, self-discipline, teamwork, respect for teammates and opponents alike, and above all else, the importance of getting up when you have fallen down and never ever giving up. I understand they're at home taking care of your children. That's awesome." So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Amy Krause into the Athletics Hall of Honor.
First, I would like to thank Coach Dr. Arena for the additional.
We move the mic a little bit, please.
Better? First, I would like to thank Coach Dr. Arena for the nomination, and second, the committee. I also want to thank my teammates, especially those who are, some of them are here with me tonight, celebrating. And I also want to thank my parents, not so much for making me get emotional, but mostly for allowing my husband and I to be here and able to celebrate this. They are at home babysitting my 5.5-month-old twins and 4-year-old. So we're kids free, which is not something that's normal. Wittenberg holds a special place in my heart and has helped grow in many ways. I just want to thank everyone and congratulate all the inductees tonight. So thank you very much.
Really awesome, and I want to take a second to recognize some of the current field hockey members that are here tonight to see Amy in her induction, and of course, Coach Kelly and Assistant Coach Nicole. So thank you for being here tonight, ladies. Listen, Amy, I'm a sap too, so I was all about that. I was getting a little misty-eyed when I read the first time that letter. I thought, man, these parents are great. This is awesome. I have the full letter for you, and I'll give it to you later. So our final 2014 inductee is Dave Moore, a member of the class of 1964 and one of the most successful student athletes in the history of Wittenberg men's tennis program. I realized that because he was in '64, he couldn't have been your doubles partner, Chuck, because you graduated in '82, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I sort of just put that together, yeah, okay. As a singles player, Dave won more than 40 matches and lost just once, en route to 4 straight OAC championships at his position. In doubles, Dave won 3 league titles at the #1 position with 3 different partners, and he captured the NCAA Mideast Regional Doubles Championship and helped the Tigers earn a spot in the National Small College Tournament in 1963. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our last inductee, Dave Moore, into the Athletics Hall of Honor.
Hopefully not least. First of all, I'd like to thank, excuse me, Gary and the selection committee for really considering me and the other candidates for this particular election ceremony. In fact, I think the committee did a phenomenal job. I think it's 5 others that were great. But I'm thrilled to be considered for this particular award and honor. Something I hoped for. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but I'm extremely pleased. I had a tremendous time during the years in Wittenberg, which was 1960 and 1964. And tennis and all of the overall team experience was probably one of the prime reasons that I enjoyed that particular sentiment. During the years when I was at Wittenberg, which was 60 to 64, we were fortunate to have several individuals who have really distinguished themselves with some pretty fantastic records on the team. But more important than that, I believe, was the fact that we had a very, very strong team record. During those 4 years, and I was not aware of this until this particular situation developed, but I believe between 1960 and 1964, we only lost 4 dual matches in that period of time. We won 3 Ohio Conference championships, and we didn't mess up one year and we came in second. But I was thrilled to be a part of that particular team effort. And it's also pretty amazing to see this evening as I look out and I see Wendell, who was part of our team. He was the tallest, he was the brightest. He also was an outstanding player during those years at Wittenberg. Next to him, Roger Beach. Roger probably had the most outstanding record of any tennis player in Wittenberg's history. If you go back through the record books, he also was a fraternity brother of mine, which was a good plus. We also have Chuck Imhoff, Chuck, stories about Chuck in just a second. And yours truly. Well, to have 4 individuals, okay, this goes back over 50 years. It's pretty amazing. Nobody came into the Walker, nobody came into the King. But I think it's a real testimony to our team that we have that many people here. Else Lawson was supposed to be in attendance, so I'm enjoying this as well. A couple things about Chuck, right, that I would mention. You mentioned we were very fortunate to have a very solid doubles record. But more importantly than that, we really had a good time. We had a great time on the court. We had a lot of fun. For all of you who have played tennis, certainly those who have played doubles, you realize that you have to have a great level of compatibility with your partner, a lot of chemistry, or else you're going to have some problems. And I think that's one of the reasons why Chuck and I were pretty successful during your time in Wittenberg. He already mentioned something that I probably would have mentioned. In all due respect to Roger and Dave Beach, our challenge matches were very intense but very politely done. A tremendous amount of respect. But at the same time, I think that was Chuck and I had a lot of fun. Also, was we ended up winning most of those challenges. And on paper, again, Roger is outstanding athletes. And other thing you mentioned about Chuck, he actually arranged for, or set up the first date that I had with my eventual wife-to-be, which was Susan Kirschner. We were juniors at the time. Chuck and his eventual wife-to-be, the two of us actually had a date down the road in Yellow Springs, near Antioch College. We had a bit of beer, we had a bit of wine. And one of the reasons that we went down to the university was the fact that there's a group of individuals. We had a tremendous evening, but there was a group of people called beatniks. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the term. For those of you who have not, you may want to Google it. But they're kind of the precursors to the hippie movement. Very anti-establishment, very unique, very intelligent people. But about halfway through the evening, we were immersed in poetry. The only light that we had was candlelight, and it was a real, very, very good experience. On our way out, we decided to take a stroll down to a co-educational dorm, because Antioch at that time, in 1961, 1962, actually had co-ed dorms. At that time, Wittenberg, particularly the ladies, still had hours. They were prepared to remember that 10, 11 o'clock. They were permitted to go out as late as 1 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays. So going to a co-ed dorm in the 1860s was also a unique experience. But the date went very well. I'm very pleased to say that just about a little over 2 months ago, my wife and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. So I would have to thank Chuck for that. But in closing, what I'd like to say is that I am very, very appreciative of the fact that I had the opportunity that I did after Wittenberg. It was a tremendous experience for me on the tennis court as well as in the classroom. And again, I'd like to thank the athletic department and those students for the fantastic things that they did. Thanks very much.
Well, if you get a chance to take a look at one of the inductees, they're really beautiful, and the portrait plaque that's in there is the same image that's been put on the Hall of Honor wall, the wall of honor in the Hyper Center. So you get a chance to check that out. Also, I understand that Wendell has a particularly interesting annual floating around that's got some pretty fun photos of Dave and Chuck, yes? So if you're feeling like you want a little nostalgia, you can talk with Wendell. I can't wait to see it personally. So I'm excited that you brought it. But this does officially conclude our 2014 Athletics Hall of Honor induction. I do think, number one, I would like to thank, again, everyone for being here tonight. I'd like to thank the committee for putting together a fine list of inductees for the evening, and I think it would be appropriate for us to give one last round of applause to all of the inductees. There's a couple things before everyone goes their separate ways. I would like to ask all of the current inductees and any former inductees that are here to meet right over by the golden trophy and racket. That's really appropriate for you guys. I like that. That's actually really nice. Because we're going to assemble there for a photo. I think there's probably many people here that would like to take a photograph of both the current inductees and former inductees. So please, right after we split here, if you go over there for some photo op, that would be wonderful. And then also I'd like you to consider joining us, please, for two particular events tomorrow. The first one, from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll be doing sort of an honorary service for Ron Murphy under the white tent right next to Hollenbeck Hall. So come and help us celebrate and honor his life from 10 to 11. And then the second event is, of course, the 1 o'clock football game for the Coach Benjamin team against Kenyon. And at halftime, we'll be honoring the inductees again, so you can be there to recognize them once more tomorrow during the homecoming football game. Other than that, please enjoy the rest of the homecoming weekend. Welcome back home. And in true Tiger spirit, I say to you, Tiger up. Everyone right now look right at the man with the red tie and blue jacket. That's my hour. Yeah.
What's going on Twitter?